the goaltending's been awesome, but Lepore, something that has not been awesome, specifically over the last 10 games, has been this Leafs power play. So,
Unbelievable.
so let me just give you the numbers real quick, okay? The Leafs have now gone 10 straight games without a power play goal. They are 0 for 26 on the power play
Yep.
in their last 26 opportunities on the man advantage. They have not scored a power play goal since March 9th against the Winnipeg Jets. And Lepore, we talked about this on an earlier show, how this Leafs power play was operating like Team Canada at the World Juniors earlier this season. They're scoring at a 35% clip, approaching 40%. But since then, we have seen a sharp decline. Let me just double check this. The Leafs now have the 8th ranked power play in the NHL. And they were like a top 2 unit essentially almost the entire season up until these last 10 games.
Yeah,
so,
they were like bouncing between 1 and 2 the whole time.
So yeah, man, like what the hell is going on with this power play? Like, are you concerned? Is this going to be an issue moving forward and into the playoffs?
The scariest part to me is that someone broke it down, one of the Leafs writers, and was breaking down their chances within the power plays, and their power play chances haven't even been that great. Like someone broke it down with compared to all the other teams in the league, and I think it was over the last 10 games, they were generating like 3 scoring chances on power plays a game. And that was like near the bottom. And then there's another terrible stat that like Matthews is like half of those chances. So you remove him, it'd be an absolute joke.
Unreal.
And I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it, but I am going to fucking point to John Tavares here. Like, how many times have I seen it where they try that thing where Marner or Nylander kind of peels off the sideboards, and you can tell they practice this all day long, where that player has the opportunity to shoot it or do that kind of dish to Tavares in front of the net. And a lot of the time it's working, but Tavares isn't putting it in. And I don't know how much now is in his head, or he's just like something's wrong, but it's getting to the point now where it's absolutely crazy with JT. Like, I think there was 2-3 times last night where I actually said, like, the puck fell to his stick. And when a player has a scoring chance and you kind of out loud say, oh, scores, I think I did that 2-3 times last night with Tavares, and it goes in the goalie's pad or it dribbles off his stick. And I'm sure we can point to like this whole power play stretch that's an absolute disaster. And he's probably got 5-10 like grade A scoring chances. Well, if half of those go in, or even a third go in, we're probably here just saying, yeah, this power play is shit right now, but it's adjusting. But right now, it's embarrassing. Like John, you're killing us, man. And again, like, he's got a big responsibility on that unit to be the guy in front of the net. The other thing is too, and I'm sure like you've noticed it, and people love to make fun of this one on Twitter, with all the weapons this power play has and all the things they can kind of work to in the way of a scoring chance, how fucking frustrating is it when they just get to Riley up top and he blasts a slap shot?
Oh God, I know.
It never makes it through.
No,
and
it drives me nuts.
It never makes it through, and even worse than that, it always gives the other team possession to get the puck out. It's just a waste. Like, it's a fucking waste of 20 seconds on the power play, or maybe even longer, because you've been snapping the puck around, working up to him getting that shot. But just, I don't know. It's weird. We're thinking about the D altogether. Did you know the D for the Leafs, they said it last night, 30th in the league in goals?
Yeah, no, I heard that on the broadcast as well.
Yeah, after Dermott scored. I didn't know. I mean, once they said it, I was like, yeah, now that you mention it, I don't really remember too many goals coming from the D, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they said the Leafs are like second last and the Jets are dead last in scoring among defensemen.
Yeah, so maybe that's the thing too. We don't have that option on the power play really of like a blast. Like, because I mean, when they do it, it's Matthews on the side there. But even like, it's not like they fire to Muzzin and he hammers one, or I mean, that's not really.
I'm glad you brought up this point, because I've said this in the past, and this is going back, 2, 3, 4 years. Okay. I'm a big fan of Morgan Riley. I think he's awesome. I think the way that he's able to jump into the play, his skating ability, his skill level, he's an awesome player. He's a great offensive defenseman. He's a great, in my opinion, just all-around defenseman.
Yeah, he's pretty good at everything. Yeah.
But one thing that I always liked about Jake Gardiner specifically when he was still on the Leafs, and everyone used to make fun of Jake Gardiner.
Careful, everyone's flipping out.
I'm just going to say this real quick, okay? I always thought Jake Gardiner was better as the power play quarterback than Morgan Riley was.
Yeah.
And not because Jake Gardiner has a shot like Shea Weber or anything like that, but I thought that he had a better one-timer. I thought that he was better at getting that slap shot through. And I thought that he was just more of a threat from the point. And you're sort of seeing that because, Lepore, like you mentioned, this Leafs power play at the end of the day, it's run through Matthews and Marner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got Marner on the half wall. You know, he's moving around. You know, he kind of just roams around. And then Matthews is just waiting to get that shot off. And then you have John Tavares down low in front of the net. But at the end of the day, it's Matthews and Marner. And the Leafs don't really have that booming shot from the point. And again, as much as we both like Morgan Riley, he really isn't like the ideal power play quarterback. That guy back there who you know that he can unleash a one-timer. Like a guy that I think about is like John Carlson on the Washington Capitals. Like he's got an absolute bomb. And that's why, you know, we all know Ovechkin's amazing and is going to be the all-time leading power play goal scorer and probably the all-time leading scorer ever.
Careful. I'm still nervous for the all-time one, Bruno. I gotta say it. I don't want it to happen.
We'll see. But I mean, a big reason why that Washington power play has always been so good is because of John Carlson. He's an absolute monster unleashing shots from the point. And, you know, I can go down the list of other teams that have that player as well. Even if you look at like Carolina, they've been really good this year. Like Dougie Hamilton has an absolute bomb from the point. Like, the thing with Morgan Riley, he has that wrist shot and he can get it through and he can roam around and he can make plays happen and he's a good playmaker. But in terms of that shot threat from the point, it's not really there. And maybe that's one of the big issues with this power play right now, Lepore, besides the fact that it seems like they're hitting, 25 posts every single game and missing grade A scoring chances.
Yeah. At what point with regard to the power play, like I don't pretend to be a coach, at what point do we have to point to Manny Malhotra? Because he was brought in because we was brought in this year
earlier this year,
and we brought him in this year to handle the power play, and it's dipped hard. And I feel like it's been the story for the Leafs every year that their power play comes out guns a-blazing, just because like those guys just go off, and it maybe takes a while for other teams to kind of understand what the Leafs are going to do, and that is what it is. But I mean, Manny, like this is your unit. I mean, if it's shit, you're the captain of the ship. So I don't know. Maybe some decisions have to be made there. I'm not saying fire the Manny Malhotra mid-season, but I mean, some conversations have to be had, and I'm sure they are being had for that matter.
Yeah, and here's one last thing I'll say about this power play. We're going to see some positive regression. There's just absolutely no way this can continue.
Yeah.
It's like you said, Lepore, like Tavares is getting these grade A scoring chances. Matthews, every single game, especially on the power play, is getting really, really high quality scoring chances, and they just haven't been going in for him. So at some point, we are going to see some positive regression. They're 0 for 26 on the power play over their last 10 games. That's just not going to continue. At some point, it's going to flip in the other direction. Now, would I like to see them load up that top power play and just put all the stars out there? Because as we've seen, they've sort of staggered the power play units this year. And that could be another issue that we could look at. But earlier in the season, we were talking about how that was a positive and how the Leafs had two really solid power play units, right? So there's different things that you could look at. But I think at the end of the day, we will see positive regression with this power play. And another thing I looked up, the Leafs, over the last 10 games where their power play has been a disaster, they're outscoring teams 2018 at 5-on-5. So that goes back to that whole conversation we had where they're not like dominating anyone on the score sheet. They're not like winning these games 4-1, 5-1. Because, they are slightly outscoring teams at 5-on-5. But when your power play goes 0 for 26, that's probably why you're just squeaking out victories.
That's the gap. Yeah.
Right. And that's the difference right there.